Alcoholic Addicts.
Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm LT and I'm an alcoholic addict.
I'm Felice, married to this beautiful alcoholic addict sitting next to me.
Woohoo! So it is Sunday night, February 14th. My goodness, where is the year already going? It's already mid-February of 2021. But that's okay because our attitudes have changed and 2020 is over, right? We got good attitudes. We're happy. We're living in the now. What is Recovering Addict? Recovering Addict is a support group that has 24-hour support through a Discord right there. It's an app you download and you can just join us. Get in there, get involved, get to know people. We have daily recovery meetings on Mondays and Tuesdays. We have 2 hours worth of Zooms. The first hour is a class. It's everything you're going to learn that I learned in a rehab. And then plus step work. We're going to learn rehab stuff, relapse prevention planning. We're going to go through books like Staying Sober by Terrence Gorski. And on top of that, we get 1 hour after that, we follow it with a recovery recovery Zoom meeting where we get to pour out our hearts and get to know each other. And the better we get to know each other, the better we're able to help each other because we know how to check up on each other too. And that's why our motto here is we recover better together. Got one of the most loving communities on the internet. So please join us, jump in that Discord. Felice will drop the links. I did drop them in there before. And tonight we have a special guest. We're just waiting for her to pop in backstage. Her name's Bree from Breaking Chains. I'm going to let her tell her whole story. She's from New York. This is going to be a nice one. She's going to be an awesome addition to our team and vice versa, us to her team. And what we all are doing, right? We all have the same mission, and that's to help and love and support people who are still suffering, people who are in recovery and need strength to make it through to the next day because it's not easy. I don't care how many years you got. Life on life's terms is not easy. Just like Dan said this morning in his live stream. He was talking about, I got a flat tire. It would have been nice to be able to plan for a flat tire, but that we don't plan life. Life just freaking happens. It just craps on us sometimes. And it's how we handle that situation. And so with this new team we found, Breaking Chains with Bree and her friends, we're on the same page and we're just going to reach out and help and love and support. So anybody from there coming to us and us going to them, our community just got bigger, better, and stronger because we recover better together.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Brad. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, Brad.
Amen. I want to shout out to little Joe Money, too. He just hit 5 months, I saw in the chat. If I can back up to it.
Joe Money?
Little J Money.
Little J Money.
5 months clean. And that's no joke, man. That's a half a year.
Little.
That's going through the end of 2020, the unknowns, besides how hard it is anyway, Congratulations to you, little J. So proud of you. All right. Well, you know what Recovering Addict is. If you've been here for a while, reach out and say hi to somebody. If you are new here, reach out and let us know who you are so we can greet you and say hello. Until the Sober Singer on Twitch. Boop, boop. 3 months for Kyle yesterday. 30, 60, what's that, 90 days? 3 months is 90 days, huh? We have to play our 90-day video for Kyle, I think.
Oh, good idea.
Get it right, man. I'm trying, Jeff. I'm trying. I don't even know what I got wrong either.
That's the
bad
happening.
part. What's going on right
What's
now?
happening?
So here's what's been going on with me, y'all. And I'll stop here in a second, let Felice say what's up to everybody in the chat. But I had surgery like 4 days ago. I had to have this tumor, cyst, lipoma, whatever you want to call it. It goes by different names, removed from my leg, right? So that had to knock me out. The whole drug addict getting in there, getting prescribed opiates and all that kind of stuff, right? And I took the prescription of opiates. Well, some of you are going to freak out now, so just listen. This is what I did. I got the prescription because I don't know. This is my inner thigh. It may have been like some crazy pain. So I waited, and the pain got pretty good that night. So I took one, and I was like, this ain't working. The Advil, I always get the 800. 800 ibuprofen is my go-to, right? So I take it. It doesn't work. I don't feel anything. The only thing I feel is like this addict in me, right? Like, well, it didn't work. You better take another. You better go take another. And all of a sudden the obsession of my mind to go back to the cupboard and try to get more, or, talk myself into go getting more. So I said, you know what? Screw this. I got up. took 600 ibuprofen or 800 ibuprofen, dumped the rest down the drain, set it on the toilet, showed her because it was twofold. It was causing her to relapse as well. It was just, she's like, I don't think it's a good idea. You can see the stress in her face. So the fact that I had it was causing me to mentally obsess and relapse, even though I didn't go off and slam a bunch of pills. Opiates wasn't my thing anyway. I like to drink or meth, right? I like to go fast and get crazy. But just having them in the house freaked her out. And then the obsession of mine was like, well, take another one if your leg hurts, maybe it does hurt worse than I think, maybe I should take some more. So I just dumped them down the damn toilet, got it over with, get rid of them. But with all the other crap they pumped me full of, because they had to put me down, they had to put me to sleep, man. It took me like 2 days, 3 days to get back to normal. And just this afternoon, I started feeling normal again. I slept on and off for the last couple of days. Pain in the butt. Surgery sucks. Getting old sucks. But hey, life on life terms, right?
It was a nice trust exercise, I felt like.
Yeah, it was.
Like, if he says so, I'll trust him.
Yeah. What's up, Zach? This is my brother right there. So yeah, that's what I did. That's how I avoided relapse, because I could have hit it. I could have got on here high, you guys probably wouldn't have, well, you probably would have known.
Yeah.
She would have known. She'd have called me out. But you know how the addict thinks. You know how I went down that road this weekend. And I waited to come on here to share about it because I wanted to share it with all y'all. But that's what I did. So I'm going to let Fleece say what's up to everybody in the chat while we're waiting for our friend. And after she does that, we will read the 24-hour a day out of the Kindle. And then if Bree's still not here, we'll just keep chit-chatting.
Yeah, I think, though, the part that freaked me out the most wasn't that you were going to get them. It was like your attitude when you told me you were going to get them. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like a discussion like, hey, if the pain hurts, you were like, if they prescribe them, I'm going to take them. It was like that same attitude when you brought that one little bottle home. That's what I saw. I was like, uh-oh. But then I was like, nope. He says he's got it handled. I'll trust him, and we'll see where it goes.
That just shows relapse happens on both sides, the addict and the codependent co-addict,
so
right?
That's what triggered me. I was like, ooh.
Uh-oh. I see the addict again.
Okay, let's say hi. We got Cherie in the house. That's a question for later. We got Marilyn. Congrats again to little J Money. Oh, did you put that there? She put that there. You put that there. Yeah, check out Breaking Change, the Whitney Project. Can't wait for her to jump on. She's awesome, and I absolutely love her accent. It's one of my favorites. Alicia, love to see you. Who else? Desmond. As always, a pleasure. Cherie. We love you, Cherie. Raylene. Hello. Kyle, what's up? Marilyn. Love you. Who else we got? Did I say hi to Kyle? I feel like I did, but hello again. Who else? I said hello to you. Hello, Mr. Michael Teeter. Love that guy. Teeter. Shout out to New Mexico recovering addict out there. The whole crew. Lauren, love seeing you. Love seeing you in the Zoom meetings too.
Yeah, what an asset to the community. Mm-hmm. Lauren, I love it. Thank you for being here.
What's up, Mo? Thanks for sharing your story the other night. That was wonderful.
Yeah, that was really good.
Jeanette, what up? Happy Valentine's Day. Ooh, who's the sober singer?
That's Sean.
Oh, hi, Sean. You got a different name on the Twitch.
He's on the Twitch.
Welcome, Twitcher. Jeffrey, hello. Who else? Claiborne. How's it going?
Oh, brother,
how's it going on the outside?
Man? Yeah, how's real life?
Are you doing all right?
Jason Johnson, you're welcome so much for the support.
Happy Sober Singles Day. I love it. What's up, Sky Lover? Jason. Josh Beam's here. We're doing good. Josh,
how you doing, brother?
How are you? Who else? I'll send him one. I thought I did, but I guess I did not.
Oh, we didn't send Brad an Aussie Merc?
No. I sent out like 50 packages, and I can't remember what I sent.
Who knows who got what?
But he's like, what's an Aussie Merc? So I feel like I didn't send him one. See?
All right, we owe you a bookmark there, Brad.
It's not working for you, but I'm glad you got the live streams. Hopefully you can jump into some Zooms.
Yeah, Jason, one of these days you get in there. Facebook, I still try to post our Zoom meetings there too as well, so no biggie. I did not get an Aussie Merc. I want one. Haha, that's awesome. He
Done.
says.
Well, that will happen. What's up, Nicole?
Nicole, she's playing VR. I'm so jealous.
It's nice to see you life-sized.
Are we in your VR?
Are we? Because that's cool. I want one.
Damn, I need a VR.
He said, good for you getting out in front of it, LT.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
What's up, Michelle? Ooh, T. Zachariah Rasmussen.
Walking Fridays. Oh, yeah.
Lake Town,
If you're in Utah, Fridays at 4 o'clock, they meet at the Ogden sign on Washington Boulevard, and they walk for wellness.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that's way cool.
And that's everybody.
Right
Virtual
on.
reality.
All right. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Just get out ahead of it. It's funny because I'm not an opiate addict. I never was an opiate. I hated opiates. But the fact that I knew I had them in the cupboard and I had an excuse and I had a permission and I had the prescription and the obsession of mind was nonetheless, it didn't matter. Like I always say, anything will do in a pinch, and that could have pinched me. Right. But without further ado, we have our special guest backstage. I'm going to bring her on. Let her introduce herself. What's going on, Bree?
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing good. How are you?
Awesome, I finally made it. I'm always running like nothing now.
It's all good. It's all good. So you were at dinner, huh?
Yeah, we ended up at Brewster's, and I was about probably the only one dressed up. Looks like we saved up our whole lives to get there. So,
right on.
Real quick, I did send Brad one.
Oh, he just found it.
It's a second merch.
I know.
Cool. All right. Well, I've been telling everyone.
Nice.
Yeah, you look really nice tonight.
Thanks. I tried for once in a week.
Yeah, so I'm going to just let everybody know how we found you. So Green-Eyed Cat, Brian, everybody in our community knows how awesome that dude is. He was like, dude, reach out to this girl. She's amazing. She's got a good cause. Y'all are on the same team. And so we reached out to her, and now here she is. And she's going to come on and share her story. So tell us about, what her passion is with recovery, why she started her YouTube channel, her Facebook page, and why she's basically doing the same thing we're all doing and trying to live and support and love one another. So I'm going to let the floor be yours. I'll stop and clarify things as you go, but we're dropping your link in the comments. So yeah, go ahead.
All right, guys. So my name is Bree. I run the Facebook page and channel Breaking Chains, the Whitney Project, in lieu of my sister Whitney, who passed away of an overdose at 20 years old. That is kind of where my recovery advocate journey started. It was like one day I'm like, I'm going to make a Facebook page and I'm going to tell other people's stories because I'm grieving really hard and can't figure out what else to do with my life. So that started the page, and I started interviewing people about their recovery. I'm also in recovery myself. I've been in recovery for 4.5 years, September of 2016. So whatever that calculates out to. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long while, a long 4 years. But I think that we all have a very specific, telltale story that we all can, resonate with feelings. That's a big thing. But once we tell our story, there's usually at least one person out there who needs to hear that specific story. And I felt this. I heard my story one day while I was at a meeting in my first rehab in New York. Let's clarify that. First rehab in New York. And I remember this girl just had said everything I felt about my life. And it really influenced me a lot because I felt like I finally found somebody who truly understood what I had been through. And I had heard many leads at that point. So that's when I started to realize how important it was to spread your story and spread other stories, the ones that are really quiet, the people who are your, neighborhood doctor, bakery owner, the people you really don't know have come so far just by being successful in small feats, from where they started. So that's what the channel started off as. I guess I can tell you guys a little bit about my background. So I come from a very diverse family, I guess. I had a mother who was the complete opposite of my father. My mom was like your innocent saint who knows nothing about anything bad. And my father was the person who was probably a little bit corrupted at quite a young age and had found himself in the same position that I had been in too. So they were very completely different. It was just me and my little sister. I do have other siblings that were older that my dad had, and I didn't have a very close relationship with them at all. So that was something that was also kind of like distance us from the world. We were very sheltered. We were not taught very much about what drugs were, nothing about sex, nothing about things we really should have been told about, because my mom, who had no experience with much of those, I mean, obviously sex because I'm here, but not a lot, not a lot in the full way of like the things that she had been raised in, because she was raised in a very complete, pretty normal family. She had the silver spoon fed to her mouth and didn't learn how to really clean till she was like, 35, 40. So these are the kind of things that, you look back at your life and you're like, a lot of our patterns come from our environment as children. We don't always realize that our longing for attention, love, commitment, it all comes from the things that were instilled in us at a very young age. Even if we had one parent that was very stable and trusting, to have another parent that's not, it still affects you, even if the other one does their very best. If anyone can relate with that, it might be something where you don't want to admit that you've suffered from having an unstable parent, but you do. And it does become a part of how you see maybe even the opposite sex or the same sex, or how you view parenting and so forth. And some of this, I think addiction is really genetic too, because if you look at my one side of the family, I mean, everybody is an addict or alcoholic. You look at the other side of my family and there aren't very many, So it also, I think, has to do with environment, breaking that breaking the chain, that comes down with each generation. So there's a lot to it. And I just was so sheltered that when I got into middle school, I was one of those kids that was really smart and didn't have to work for much. And my mom had always given me anything I really wanted. We weren't like rich or anything. We actually were pretty much dirt poor at one point, but we got everything we needed. My mom would do anything to get us what we needed. And my dad would do his best as well. And it was kind of like this, we didn't have to really work or face consequences. So we didn't really learn about what it was like to survive. We didn't really learn about, the validation you get when you go out and you save up and buy something and how you feel and like that proudness you get. Things had little value to us almost. And I guess when I got into that kind of weird phase when I was like 15 or so, I remember feeling very different, very, very out of place. I was rebellious. I'm not down with the system. I'm going to tell you that. So I was like, I don't believe in school. I don't believe in us, forcing people to learn things that we don't know if are biased or not. I felt like it was kind of all very forced, and I didn't appreciate that about life. I didn't. And I felt very different and out of place. And I felt like, why are we, judging people based off of how much money they have or what they wear or brands? And like, I'm that person. I love high brands. I do. I'm not going to lie. I'm totally the person who wants to buy something that's a high name brand. But at that time, I felt like, because I couldn't have those things, that I fell out of place. I don't know. I can't even explain it. It's like we feel very just disassociated. And I think that's when I started to come into my mental illnesses, is when they started to form, they started to erupt, and I didn't understand how to talk about them. So they kind of just welled up inside of me. And it's like, we have that monster under our bed that we're scared of as a child. And what we don't realize is it almost represents our fears and the things that are unknown. Hang on, my birds are fighting with each other. Can you shut that door, babe, please? Sorry. They like to fight a lot. They're copycats of us. But so, I mean, the one thing that I noticed was like, all those fears we have, they kind of manifested into my teenage years. And it was like that monster under my bed became the one in my head. And that's kind of what I relate it to, all these things that become fearful, that we're scared of. We try to like push it away if we don't know how to talk about it. And I'm a big writer. I'm a big speaker. Like I talked a lot, but it felt like I was just talking. Sometimes it felt like nothing was actually coming out that was substantial. And it felt like people didn't really understand where I was coming from a lot of times. So I would kind of just show up to school and then leave. And I didn't really want to be there. And I still don't want to be there. But, it's one of those things that we don't really realize if we're not told how to deal with it. My mom kind of had that like kind of ideal of, everything's perfect. Let's shove it under the rug. Let's pretend it doesn't exist. Let's not talk about it. She's very loving, extremely loving, but she's not good with change. She's not good with hard subjects. That's a huge thing too that we didn't learn. So my sister followed in my path, right behind me with everything. So I got older. I started dating. I started using, I guess I was about 16 or so when I started smoking weed. I think I had drank at like 13 once, but I really got into it when I was 16. I went through a bad breakup, and that's one of my patterns was like internal triggers. It's not external triggers. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with me feeling rejected or left behind or feeling like I can't rely on someone. So let's take that back to the stability issue. You know what I mean? So here I am feeling, like this guy who was, probably like 13 and I was like 15 didn't like me. So now I'm going to go do drugs, And it's stupid at now, when you think about it, but you look back and you really felt strongly about these things because rejection is really hard for some people. But I don't know. So I started kind of just messing around. I smoked weed. I started partying. I was doing really good in school at one point, and then it just like went down the drain like that, like so fast. And the drugs became extremely important without me even realizing how important they were. I started using opiates, and I just was off to the races. I think the first time I tried a pill, I was like, holy shit, where has this been all my life? Like, I literally was like, I found the cure to my life. It's right here. And that's how I felt. I felt like this monster was gone. I didn't have any racing anxiety anymore. I felt like I was kind of in this peace, but it was almost a love that we shouldn't feel. It's almost like too much. Like, how could you like something this much is how it felt. And I didn't want anything else. And I started seeing my daughter's father at that point in time. And we fought a lot, especially over drugs. And we were friends. We had some friendship behind it, but it was like as soon as drugs came into the picture, it was over. It was like all that friendship that we thought we had was gone. And it's sad to look back on that now because we are still friends and we do still get along. But, that's a really hard thing to really know and go through when you're young. And I started to not go to school. I was ditching out. After I did end up finishing school. I did end up skipping a grade still. I cannot tell you how because I don't even know how, but I did. And I finished and decided I didn't want to go to college right away. I wanted to party all summer and do whatever I wanted. And I ended up having my daughter. I got pregnant with her like in the midst of like an acid trip, of course. It's probably why she's so freaking weird. But I end up like, I'm going through all this and I'm having all these like big parties and then I get pregnant and it was like a big smack in the face. It was like, holy shit. And I didn't really know if I even wanted a child, but I was so afraid that I was going to miss my chance to get better that I decided to have her because honestly, if I didn't want to have a child at that point, I probably wouldn't have. But something told me like, you need to have this kid. It's going to save you, whatever. And I decided to have her. And we moved into this crappy little trailer. Nothing was going great at this time. I was in college trying to go to college, which I was like, I am not going to be pregnant in college. Like, I was like, fuck that. It's not happening. I'm out of this. Sorry, I swear too much. Don't be offended by me swearing. So I get clean. I end up doing really well while I'm pregnant. I am working at a gas station, nonetheless. And I'm just kind of like really happy with life. Like I can't even explain the kind of bliss I felt going to work and just helping elderly people walk out to their car. It was just so nice to feel like myself again. And I did have bad anxiety. I did cry a lot. I had a lot of mixed emotions, but I remember feeling so peaceful just to be at a job and feel normal and feel part of society. And it was a nice feeling. And I was young. I was 18, It wasn't like I was an older parent or anything. So I was still looked at a little funnily, but I felt a part of a team and I liked that. And, me and my ex didn't get along very well. So that was my solace. That was my safe place. That's where I felt at home because home didn't feel like home to me. So after that, as soon as I had my daughter, I cracked right away. I think I got back into partying, I think within maybe a month. And then I had this fear about parenting. I can't explain it. I was so scared the whole time that I was pregnant that I was going to be a horrible mom that I almost projected it on myself. It was like as soon as I had my daughter, I had declared myself, a non-fit parent and decided my mom would do a better job and I was off to the races. And I don't know why that my own fear, it's like I expected to just get that automatic maternal love. Like I expected it to just come over me and make me a parent and I wouldn't have to do any work, just like everything else in my life. Yeah. And when I started to be fearful of parenting and thinking she was going to get hurt and that I was going to drop her, or something bad was going to happen, it was like I just felt like, okay, she's safe from my mom. She's safe from my mom. My mom could do it. She knows what she's doing. I don't. And that was a really hard thing too, and I think my confidence was really low and I had a lot of issue with that. And I didn't feel like myself because I had gained weight. That's a huge thing I've dealt with my entire life is body dysmorphia. I could be 100 pounds and still look fat to me. And that's a big thing that I have gotten better at, but not perfect with at all. So I end up using again, I become a CNA and I start doing pills again. And right away, like I'm rewarding myself like, girl, you just worked all week. You deserve this. Telling myself like, it's okay. I'm functioning. I'm working. I'm paying for diapers and formula. What's the big deal? And it was not right at all. I was barely home. I was working 78 hours a week. I didn't want to be home because I didn't want to face my mistakes. I didn't want to face the responsibility waiting for me. So I projected it on elderly residents that love me to death, and that was my purpose at that point in time. And after a couple of years, I think a year or so, I got into heroin. My ex and I, we were still together. And he had not been able to get pills because when Florida shut down their pill mills, suddenly up here, you couldn't get them. It was a big thing. And I ended up going to heroin. I didn't really necessarily know it was heroin, but I knew. And I'll explain. Like I knew he was on it and he wasn't telling me he was on it. So when he brought it home and it didn't look normal, I assumed what it was, but I didn't ask questions because I didn't care. And then I told him, if you're not going to stop, because I assumed at this point he was shooting it, I'm like, if you're not going to stop, then just do it to me. And after I had been sorting it for a few months, he's like, okay, I will. And I was kind of curious about what it was going to do, while at the same time hoping he would say no, if that makes sense. Like we're just so self-sabotaging all the time. It's like we could literally ruin the best thing given to us with every exemption, every loophole taken away. We're going to find a way to screw it up. And that's the sad part about having that active addiction mindset is like we do not believe we are capable of doing the right thing. We're always holding expectations extremely high for other people. And when I'll speak for myself. I always held extremely high expectations of other people. And when they didn't fit that bill, I would get mad and almost punish myself, which makes no sense. So, yeah, I guess after that, I got really bad into heroin. My sister was using. She was using opiates as well and had started getting heroin as well. And she was about 15. So I decided at one point that it was smarter to give them to her than let her buy them off the street and possibly die. And I can't explain my logic with that either. I think I just thought, well, I can skimp her on it and then I know she's not going to overdose. So we ended up getting really bad into that. And then I decided I wanted to get clean and go to Florida. This is when my life got crazy, really crazy. So I decide I'm going to take this lovely trip to a vacation rehab in Florida where I'm going to sip pina coladas and stay under the sun and just get clean down there. Well, of course, it was not like how I pictured it. Now, it was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. When I went to the first place I went to in Florida, they called me. I think I called them on a hotline. And they said, you have 8 hours to pack up and we're going to send you to Florida. Get as high as you want. We'll see you down there. And I'm like, okay, that's great. My mom, completely against it. Everybody else, completely against it. So, of course, I do the exact thing that everyone else is against, and I decide to go. So I'm about 19 at this point in time. So I end up flying down there, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. The place is like, something you picture as somebody who doesn't have a lot of money. That is like, you made it. You made it to the top, girl. Like, you're here. You know what I mean? Like, you just went through a gated community. This is big stuff. So I get in there and I'm like, holy crap, I'll just live here. Like, I'll literally just stay here forever. And I wake up and they gave me Suboxone too early. And I am like in horrible precip. Like, I am just shaking, shitting myself. Like, I'm just like, what is going on, God? This is horrid. And I'm going to back up a couple hours before. I met a guy in a smoke room in the airport. And he came up to me and he's like, hey, he's like, 2 years ago, I would have asked you for half of your carton of cigarettes, but now I'm 2 years clean and I only want 2. And I'm like, okay. And then he starts, I know. Well, I mean, I'm like, are you a cop? Like, what do you want? You know? And then he's like, no, listen, I know you're going to Florida and I'm going to tell you about the steps and everything. And like, he gives me his big book, his 2-year medallion. Wow. And kind of, I know, it was super weird, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, okay, this is freaking creepy. Either you're stalking me or this is like fake. So he's telling me all this stuff about Florida, about the shuffle, you know, everything that goes on down there, telling me to be careful. And then I'm like, hey, well, can you sponsor me? And he's like, no, I'm a male, honey. And I was so happy like that I had somebody give me that insight, even though it was weird, you know. And then I found out he was on the same plane as me. He switched seats with the guy next to me, got me down there, made sure I wasn't getting thrown in some prostitution ring. I mean, it was weird because he's like, listen, this can happen. You can come down there. They tell you you're going to rehab and you're going into Kenny Chapman's, you know, ring or whatever. And, wow. And yeah, not for me. So I was thankful for that. That was one of those like kind of weird moments that I'll never forget. And I remember when I was withdrawing and I'm in this, you know, beautiful hotel and these nice, you know, Egyptian cotton, whatever beds. I'm looking at this book and I'm like, holy shit, this book resonates with me a lot. And I'm reading through it and I'm like, I'm glad, like, I just felt really strongly connected. And I kind of felt like I was torn away from the rest of the world. It was really sad at the same time because you can't talk to anybody. You can talk to the people there. And I decided I didn't want Suboxone anymore. So I'm like, all right, clean recovery here. I don't want any Suboxone for the rest of my taper. And they thought I worked with the center because I refused to take Suboxone. So, of course, they locked me in my room for 36 hours and asked me who I work for. And I have no clue what they are even talking about remotely. And then I got like 10 people sitting outside my room, like protesting that I'm stuck in this room. Like people I met literally like probably 24 hours before that. And they're all like, oh, let her out. She doesn't work with a rehab. And I'm like, what the f is going on? You know, like it just was crazy. So then I find out what's going on because this guy, he tells me about the whole entire thing. You know, he tells me what's going on with the shuffle, how people come in that don't have real addictions to get other people to come to other treatment centers. They pay them to relapse, the whole thing. And wow. I understood a little better. Yeah, it's really in depth. It's not anything light. So I end up deciding I'm going to go home because all these people kept approaching me. And like at first I thought I was so liked in this place. Like I'm like, holy crap, I must be really liked. I must be really pretty. Like I got that high school feeling of like, here I am. I made it to like the addiction high school and everybody likes me. You know, I'm finally popular. And no, it was all a lie, guys. It was such a lie. It was all that they just wanted to make money off my insurance. They wanted me to go to the rehabs and make money. So I didn't get that. And then when I finally kind of put it together, I told the lady, I'm like, I want to go home. So I get held there.
Sorry to cut you off, but that's one of the main reasons we're going so heavy into giving everybody support for free, just because of how commercialized rehabs are. And I experienced that not too long ago when I got in locally here in Utah. But
yeah. Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. And it's spreading all over the country. It started, you know what I mean? It was like Florida, California. Now it's moving upwards. It's creeping into the other states.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I ended up flying home and I'm like, all right, I'm going home. Now they had held me an extra 6 days because my marketer guy that sent me down there, he's like, listen, you're ruining this for me. Like I paid for you to fly down, so forth, yelling at me. So he keeps me there another 6 days. You can't even revoke your marketer. So you end up being stuck there. And my dad gets a $60,000 bill in the mail for a copay. So I know, and that's not even like the worst of this. So I go home, end up involved in a long string of illegal activities that I can't talk about for another 3 years because I haven't gotten in trouble for them. But I end up going home, and I'm like, I'm gonna go back to Florida, like my grand idea, like I'm gonna take my ex, and we're both gonna get clean together and run from the law. So I get him, and we go to Florida. We go to Palm Partners, and it wasn't a bad place. There was nothing wrong with it, but he decides to meet some couple and leave. So we're about 12 days in, and I made the right choice to stay at that moment. But then I get a message. Now we get our phones in there so we can take pictures of our gorgeous pool and everything going on there so other people want to come. You know what I mean?
Right, of course.
So I'm on my phone, and this guy, this man messages me, and he says, well, I know one of the guys from the previous rehab you were in, the detox, and I'll come pick you up and take you to a halfway house. You can get paid $1,000, blah, blah, blah. So I end up relapsing in rehab with this girl I do not know. And another girl from my area, also named Bree from Buffalo, decides that she wants to come with me, and we're going to leave. So I get picked up by this guy. I end up getting drugged and pretty much raped in the same night. Now, I don't remember this, so thank God I don't. But I was told that's what happened by the girl I was with. And when I woke up, like, she had a needle in her arm. She was passed out. It was pretty bad. It was pretty vulgar. And she was angry at me for waking her up. Like, she thought I had done her drug. She was mad. We're both just like, what is going on? All my stuff is stolen. We're in a hotel room. I don't even remember how I got there. He had given me a pill and told me it was Molly. And then I ended up waking up there. So I end up going to try to find help. Like, I get out of the place. I'm in Delray. So, like, of course, it's just a walking shit show there. And I'm, like, trying to find help. I'm walking down the road. The police frisk me and think I'm a prostitute, which was even worse because I've never done that. So, like, that was something that made me feel great, And then I end up having to break back into the hotel to get my stuff because the door was locked. There was no way to get back in, and all I had was like a jacket at this point. So I go and I find some guy sitting in a parking lot. He tells me he owns a halfway house. He can bring me there. And he takes me there, and he had actually known the guy that left me there. So this is all interconnected, and I don't know this. So I get there, and this is just a house full of men all sleeping on the floor, and he starts trying to, like, get sexual with me, and then I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is not happening. And he says, it's okay. I'm on drugs. I can't really do anything anyways. And I'm like, okay, but you run a halfway house? Like, how does this make sense, And I'm just like, it's messed up when you're the addict trying to get help, and the people trying to help you are worse off than you are. That's when you really start to think like, hey, I don't like this place. So, I end up finding in the morning, I get the girl that was with me. She comes back. She ends up sleeping in bed with him. I'm on another mattress. We wake up in the morning. This guy comes in. He's like, no, this guy doesn't even live here. I don't even know who he is. I run this house. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So I try to get back into Palm Partners. They won't let me in because my ex took so many people with him when he left that they considered us together. And that was a big, you guys made us lose money, whatever. And I was going to go home. Now, the other girl, she had no insurance, so she was just left. No one cared about what happened to her. And then I did, but at that point, I was so freaked out, I just had to fend for myself at that point. So I end up going back where my ex is, and from then on, I think we go to 24 facilities with multiple people, different situations, different marketers, different people offering to pay us. At one point, we were in a flop in Miami with just kids all doing drugs in it. The people working there getting them the drugs. Like, it was a mess. It was a hot mess. And some of them were good. Some places were really good. I went to Full Circle, and it was all women, and they were in this halfway house. And it was the first time I really started to get clean. And I was clean for, I think, 38 days. And this was like the longest I had gone, I think, ever at that point. And I was so happy. And for some reason, I sabotaged, and I left to go be with my ex. And he was in a Suboxone house. And I found out they weren't even on Suboxone. They were all on other things. So, and then I end up staying there. And the guy that runs the facility didn't even know I was living there for like 2 months. Like, he's like, who's this girl? Like, I don't even know. I know.
Sounds
I mean,
organized.
I'm like free rent, man. But it just, I don't know. It was crazy because, like, people were always like, do you wish you didn't have that experience? And I'm glad I had that experience. I am. Because I get to talk about it, and I'm one of the only people that do. And I get a lot of shit for it because a lot of people don't want to talk about what happens in either their facilities or other facilities. And they don't want to shed light on it because they are scared of getting in trouble, if they're going to face things that they didn't even know were illegal. Like, there's just so many things with this that it's hard to talk about it. I was actually asked to go on Dr. Phil and talk about this, and magically Corona happened 2 days later, and it didn't end up going on. So I know. It's like, I know. Now I get mad every time I see him on TV. I'm like, yeah, screw you, Dr. Phil. You're not even that cool. You're not even a real doctor. But it's not, you know what I mean? But it's not his fault. I don't think it's his fault. I think there's probably more reason behind it, or maybe there isn't. You know, there's just things that happen to us, and whether they're fate, not fate, whatever you want to call it. And who knows? Maybe I dodged a bullet on that one, and I don't know. But I've had a lot of people that want to talk about it, and then they don't when it comes down to it. And that's something that kind of, I guess, I don't know. It's hard because I don't want to ever deter people from going to treatment. I think if you need treatment, go to treatment 120%. You know, I help people find treatment. I will find them a local state-funded rehab right next to their house, wherever that may be, and they get mad because they're like, what if I want to go to Florida? Well, I'm not sending you to Florida, buddy. So you're going here. And they don't get it, you know what I mean? But I get it too, because as an addict, you want to go somewhere that's nice. You want that soft landing. You don't want to deal with your feelings and your pain and how scared you are of the withdrawals. That's the thing we think we fear most, but really we just fear ourselves in reality, you know? But, yeah, so I end up going to all these facilities. I come home. I end up taking $50,000 in bad checks from random men. And I assumed I was probably going to be incarcerated at some point, and at this point I didn't care. So I'm like, all right, God, throw me in jail, save me, kill me, what do you want to do? Because at this point I have no control over my life. I don't have my daughter. I'm not doing anything productive. I am literally just using. And me and my ex weren't really getting along. He ended up going to jail, and then I think I got arrested like a day or two after I made that prayer. And I was driving down the road. It's kind of funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. This guy meets me at a park, and he's like, hey, I should have told my niece something like, God bless, you're so pretty. Some weird hit line, or like, you know, that was stupid. But then he's like, okay, so I saw you get out of that Tahoe over there. Are you on drugs? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, well, listen, I just went to jail for 5 years because I was using. And he gives me this whole story, and he says, be careful, they're out really bad today. I wouldn't drive if you don't have a license. And it's funny he said that, because guess who didn't have a license? Me. And guess who drove anyways? Me. So about 45 minutes later, I'm now in New York from Pennsylvania. So like I'm about, an hour away or so. And I get pulled over, and they go, oh, hey, you're the girl who just got 6 warrants in 1 hour. Glad we found you right away. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Of course, you guys got me within an hour. My warrant going out. They end up taking me to jail, and there's my ex who's expecting me to come bail him out with my fake check money. And I'm getting booked. And he's just like, give me the money, give me the check. And I'm like, yeah, no, I need this for me. Bye. So, yeah, we're both stuck in jail. And my sister ends up coming in too. She's a part of these checks because she got part of the money. And then after that, it was over. Like the whole thing was over. I knew I was screwed. I knew I was probably looking at prison time at this point. I took charges for my ex as well. It didn't stop and say, hey, this was him. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm already done for, so whatever. And I don't know. I guess I just felt really liberated. I felt like no one could touch me in that jail cell. I almost felt safer. And I don't know how to explain that either, because a lot of us feel like our freedom's been taken away, but really we lost our freedom a long time ago. So staring down, that door where you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. It's only between you and whatever you believe in. I mean, that's a really hard place, and I see why people go to jail and they come out, believers, or they come out with some sort of faith, because you kind of have to have that to get through. You need that kind of thing to make you feel like you're moving forward, to feel like you believe in something, that you have something. And every time I've ever asked for signs or guidance, I've always gotten it every single time. Like, for example, the other day, I kind of asked for like things from the universe. Don't laugh at me. But I asked for like a sign of something that I need to see like in the next 24 hours. I'm pretty specific with it. So like for some reason, a lemon came up, and I hate lemons. So I'm like, all right, cool. Show me a lemon, but I don't want it to be in no supermarket. I don't want it to be anything that I can count as like non-coincidental or, coincidental. So I end up watching this movie called like The Sinner. It's on Netflix. I think it's a show, actually.
Yeah.
So funny thing is, I was in the shower thinking of this, and I was thinking to myself, like, why are we on this floating ball? Like this just floating ball in the middle of space, just expected to like not worry about life and death, and we're supposed to just, let this go like it's nothing. And I was like asking for answers. I'm like, can I please have like some answers to feel better, or at least just ease me for a little while? And I end up watching that show. I'd never seen it before. My boyfriend put it on, and I see the girl cutting the lemon, and immediately he's talking about life and death and how we're on a floating thing in the middle of space. I'm like, oh my God. That was fast. That was like a record time. But it's crazy, man. I don't know if you ask for it. I mean, I'm just telling you, try it. Try this specific sign thing. Think of something that is very specific. Ask for a time frame and see if it happens. Because if you're aware, it may. But that's a big thing. I went through a lot with that, my spirituality, becoming really acquainted with it. And I spent 4 months in jail. They did put me on drug court. They were so proud of like how they helped me. Because, I'm like this 21-year-old girl who's never been in trouble before. And they're like, why would a 21-year-old girl go through all this to get money? You know what I mean? And I told them, I'm like, I'm an addict. I want help. I don't want to do this anymore. If you can help me, help me. If you can't, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm here to deal with my mistakes and be held accountable and go from here. And although my grandma did try to bail me out of the house like 3 times, and I definitely tried to leave. But aside from that, she couldn't, because I had too many detainers at that point. But they ended up dropping, I think, a couple of my felonies. They put everything together because I had 32 charges, and then they put me on drug court. They said if I failed, I would do I think it was only like a year, and if I passed, I would have 1 or 2 felonies on my record. So I end up, no, I think I held 2 felonies if I failed, and then got like a class A if I passed. So after I end up, my sister was on drug court as well. We both had the same charge. They gave us identical charges. She was so mad because she only had 2. She's like, this is not fair. I only have 2. I'm like, you got $10,000. Why are you crying? Like, stop crying about it. You're lucky, And then she ends up going to rehab, and me and my sister are very different. She's not very loud spoken. She doesn't know how to advocate for herself. She didn't go through the Florida Shuffle. She didn't learn how to live under the tri-rail and, hang out with people that are also as homeless as you are. She didn't understand those kind of things. So she kind of came from a bad place to a really pretty bad place, and she didn't really know how to meet herself in the middle or acclimate or make friends in places you don't really feel like you'd make friends to get by, So we were very different, and she was very young too. She didn't have a child. She hadn't gone through any of those things yet. So when she went to rehab, I think it took her about 8 or 9 months, and she relapsed. I was still sent away. They were like, yeah, girl, you ain't going home. We're sending you away. So I went, I think, like 4 or 5 hours away. I was gone for 8 or 9 months, maybe almost 10. And I had applied for a nursing program while I was in a halfway house, just off a whim. I'm like, screw it, I'm applying. And I ended up getting in. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know how I'm going to ride a bus an hour away to go to nursing school. Like, it just didn't make sense, but I was going to try to wing it anyways. And she ends up relapsing, so they sent me home. So I thought the program was going to start in half a year, but it ended up starting in a week. So they had an open spot. They threw me in. So I'm just like fresh out of a halfway house in, a new nursing program. And my sister is now back. She went back to jail and then got sent to the halfway I was in. That's why we couldn't be in there together. And it was upsetting, but at the same time, had she not relapsed, I would never have gotten into school. Like, I wouldn't have made it to that school in that week time period. I don't know. It's just those things that happen to us, as hard as they may be for one person, like sometimes your mistake helps someone else. So, it's odd how things work. And I was really uncomfortable with being with a bunch of people who still went out and drank on the weekends, had a great time, got to go do whatever they wanted. And I felt like very different. I did feel out of place, but I started to get over it. I started to just deal because I was clean. I was doing what I was supposed to. And at one point I was dating a guy who's also abusive, extremely abusive. And I found him in rehab. Of course, do not do that. I'm going to give you guys the best piece of advice to save you years of misery. Do not date someone you met in rehab. I don't care how cute they are. I don't care how big your rehab goggles are. Do not. Just don't. That's what they do. It's so bad. It's horrible. Like, you could literally, I'm telling you, like, a rehab 10 is like a real life 6. But it is what it is. I'm just kidding, guys. You're a 10 once you leave rehab anyways. You look good, you gain weight. But either way, it is what it is. But I'm saying that we're really impulsive when we're in rehab. We're really insecure. We don't feel like ourselves. We're still wearing that mask that we're wearing in our addiction. We're bringing it into our recovery. We're trying to get rid of it. There's a lot of things that we have not dealt with. So adding another person to your messed up life is not going to make it less messy. It's going to make it more messy. And that was something I also did not put in my own head. I thought, I needed validation. I needed to feel loved. I needed all of those things, and I couldn't find that, filling gap I always needed. I always had a void, and I was always trying to fill it. So I couldn't fill it. And that guy, he filled it for a minute, and then he became, back on drugs. He was using again. And I thought that I was going to save him or something. I can't explain that either. No, they don't. Two sickies never make a wellie. So I know that from experience 3 times over. But
Lil J Money, he has a question for you when you get to your sister's part, because he's struggling right now. I'll just throw it out there so when you get there you can address it. But he says, my question's to you. How long did it take you to get back to being positive after you lost your sister? Because he's going through grief as we speak with his mom, step-grandpa, and grandma, his wife, my dad's mom, and my recovering friend. He lost somebody, and he says, I'm struggling with it and been acting out in anger and crying on and off.
Oh, man. Well, I'm going to tell you that right now it's going to be hard. And everyone's going to tell you that it's going to get easier. It's going to hurt less, and it will hurt. I don't even want to say it'll hurt less. It becomes duller. You'll learn how to deal with it. You'll learn how to survive it. And it becomes something where you have to make a positive out of the negative, as bad as it is. As much as you feel anger for the reason that you lost someone you love, even if you know it'll save others. Because at that point, that's your loved one. That's your person. And no one wants someone that they love and know so well to die. They don't. And that is something that we all are going to probably face at some point in our lives, is the death of somebody you love, if you haven't already, because addiction has killed quite a lot of people. I lost my best friend. I lost a couple other close friends, my sister, my grandfather the same year because he was getting older. But, and the thing is, it's like a soul-searching discovery that you'll go through when you're grieving. It'll make you question things. It'll make you question reality. You're going to question who you are. You're going to question your past. You're going to wonder. It almost feels like the fabric of reality has been torn. And it'll feel very painful, but eventually you start to find things about yourself that you never knew. You start to get into things that you never would have discovered had they not passed. You start to find a side of yourself that is really strong and maybe even more vulnerable than you'd ever been. And other people really like that. They want to see that authentic side of you. And even when you're grieving, you're going to go through so many emotions. You might be robotic. You might sound like you're not even affected. You might be in shock. You may be crying all the time. It's like a wave. It comes in waves and it goes. And you always feel like you're never going to get over it. And that's right. You're not. You're never going to get over it, but you are going to get through it. And that's the difference. But you have to keep talking. You have to keep reaching out to people that support you and give you positive feedback, because the people that make you feel low about yourself or make you feel insecure, those are not the people to go to. Go to the people that will support you. If you need to go to meetings, go to 10 a day. I'm telling you, just keep going. Because a lot of times when I was in really bad places where I thought I was going to relapse or I thought life was going to fall down on me, I just kept going to meetings. Even if I hadn't gone for a year, I just kept going. I kept going. I kept going. And that's what they're for the support. And just keep reaching out. And if you feel like you ever get in a place where the grief is too hard, that you don't want to be here anymore, I'm not going to lie. We all have those thoughts sometimes. But when you start to really contemplate it, you need to call someone. You need to call the hotline. If you get to that point, you need to talk to somebody who's truly going to know how to work you through it with the education to do that. Because I don't have that education yet. I mean, I have some. I'm a nurse, but I don't have all of it. So, talk to a professional. And I'm glad you've gone to so many meetings. I mean, it's not going to make it perfect. It's not going to make it just go away, but it'll definitely help you in that journey, because grief is a journey. And when you find yourself on the other side of that journey, I'm going to tell you, you are going to find that it has helped you to help others in some way, shape, or form, as painful as that is. Just make sure you turn it into something you can do with that, because this is why I did Breaking Chains. I'm still grieving. I still go through a whole entire month where I'm a mess. I can't get organized. I keep getting the same thoughts. I almost project my grief onto other deaths. I'm a nurse. I see people die. It's not easy. And it makes me question a whole lot of things. So just be aware of it, write down your thoughts, journal. I mean, I can't even go on about how many things you can do that are good for you, because there's so many. Just don't pick up, man. That's not going to help you. That is only going to prolong the pain. If that's something you've done at one point and you're a recovering addict, stay away from that part.
Amen.
Well said. All right. I know now I'm like 56 minutes in here.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I guess I'll try to wrap this up quick. How long do you guys go for? An hour?
Yeah, we usually go for an hour, but we don't have to do it all in one night too. You can come back multiple times, as many times as you want. You know that.
Okay, I got you.
Or you can go on for 2 hours.
Tomorrow,
we ain't got to work tomorrow, so we don't care.
Wow, lucky you. I got school at 7 in the morning. I got to write paper too. But I know I got to quit waiting till the last very minute to do that. I've been bad with that. I'll get better at that at some point. Probably not. But yeah, I guess where I'll get to here is, I guess after I went to jail and I went through all this and I started the program, I felt like I was never, when I was sitting in that jail, do you think I ever thought I would become a nurse? Do you think there was one single thought in my mind saying, hey girl, you're going to get all your charges dropped to this many charges, and then you're going to go apply for nursing school and get in, and then you're going to start a foundation, and then you're going to public speak across the country? No thought ever at all. I was the one that talked about drugs all the time. Like they kept saying I was going to die. I was the girl who was always going to overdose and die. Yeah. And I remember I was in one rehab, and these two guys said to me, they're like, if you don't try, if you don't get your shit together, you're going to be the one that overdoses. And both of them died in overdose within 6 months. So don't be so sure to make an assumption about people, because sometimes it's just something they heard or something that changed them, that changes their ways. And it sucks because sometimes we want to be that person to change them. We want to give them that beautiful advice that makes them want to change, but that's on them. But you can't predict what's going to happen to them. Nope. And even if you're so sure that you got this, man, I'm going to tell you, none of us got this, okay? And we're all like a ticking time bomb, but we got to make sure that we actually take care of the time bomb. I don't know how to explain that. Like, it's almost like, in 1 second we could go off over nothing. I've seen people stub their toe and relapse, but I've also seen people go through death of a child and not relapse. So it's all about, really using your coping, really digging into who you are and taking care of some of your mental health problems, because a lot of times that's what gets us too. And definitely relationships. I see that being the number one thing that takes people out. My friend, well, he's not my friend. My boyfriend's friend actually just had a girlfriend die today on Valentine's Day. And I cannot even imagine like how he is going to feel every single Valentine's Day after this.
Right.
It's, I know it's hard. I just don't even, there was a lot of people that told me they lost somebody today. Somebody told me they lost their child as well. Those things I can't even comprehend. I have, a 6-year-old, and I can't even think of that because I would assume that I wouldn't make it through that. But who knows if that's really what happened, I don't even want to think about that. But that's the thing. We're not perfect. We're not all wired correctly. We're going to mess up in life. We're going to have ins and outs. But if you keep coming back to the program, or at least coming back to your recovery, you're going to find it gets easier. It's going to get harder in your path of addiction, but it's going to get easier when you're back in the rooms. You're going to feel like that's where you're supposed to be. Because I remember the first time I relapsed after going to a meeting, it was like they brainwashed me and ruined the high for me completely. Like they were talking to me in my head, like, you can't do this. You know what I mean? And it's like I never could like completely do it again and feel guilt-free. So eventually you just end up staying. You're like, all right, I'm staying. You won. But all right, guys, you know what I'll do? I'll finish the story on we'll do another one, because I feel like I could probably go on for another hour about the rest of the story, because that's all my recovery.
Sweet. Yeah, we definitely want to have you back more often than just one more time too.
Yeah, we need part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2.
I know.
The suspense is going to kill me.
Well, for the rest of the story, I feel like it's like so much. Sometimes I almost like get tired of telling it, because I feel like I almost lost pieces of it from telling it so much. You know what I mean? And then there's times where I'm like, holy crap, I need to write a book on this, dude. Like, this is not normal, but who is? No one is. But yeah, I'm alive. I'm here, and I do a lot to, amend my sister's passing away, which I obviously talked about at some point in this. If you guys need anybody to talk to, I can be very hard to get a hold of. Okay, I'm just putting that out there. But if you message me on my Facebook and say I need rehab or help with that, I will try my best. If I can't find somewhere, I'll find somebody who I trust to find you one. If you feel like you need someone to talk and you're like in a really bad place, I will do that. It's hard because I'm busy. I'm in school. I have, a daughter and a stepdaughter. I am working. I'm just all over the place. But you can do it. And that's like the biggest lesson I try to teach people is just because it seems out of reach doesn't mean it is. Just because we have laws in place, just because we have these structures of how society is and what they tell us we can be and what we can do, all those limits are only in our own minds. And we are the ones confining us to that. It is no one else. So, if I was, it's true though. I meet so many people who are so scared. They're like, I have a felony. I can't get a job, and I'm like, yes, you can. Do you know they get a tax break for you? Like, someone will take you. It's true, though. It's like our society is learning to adapt with us as we are with them,
Amen.
It is.
That's the stigma we're trying to break right there, too.
I know. It is a big stigma, and it is hard because I remember judging people, and I still judge people sometimes. It's human nature. Yeah. But we learn to what's that guy say? He's like a comedian for recovery, and he says like, my first thought's always wrong, like always wrong, And I can't think of his name right now, but he was freaking hilarious. If you guys have not seen him, you could probably look up biggest recovery humor spokesperson. I should just say comedian, but you can look. What's his name? I forget. Okay, so why did you interrupt me? I'm just kidding. I've been kind of mean today. I need to take a chill pill and go to bed. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much, that we can find joy in our recovery. There is a lot. And I think the pain is like a really big part of us enjoying what we have too and being grateful for it.
Theo Vaughn?
Mark Lundholm?
Yes, I think that's who it is. Yeah, that's him. You both said it at the same time. That was weird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's who it is. He does the
Theo
what did
Von?
he say?
Is it Theo Vaughn or
Uh-uh.
Mark Lundholm?
I think it's Mark. It's Mark Lundholm.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
Definitely look that guy up.
Yeah, he's so funny. Oh my God. Like I was in rehab and I hadn't laughed in like probably a month. And this guy comes on and I was just so happy to laugh for 2 seconds. You know what I mean? To like actually not feel like I was in this like rehab prison because we were there like 6 a.m, 10 o'clock at night, a group every half hour. Yeah, it was tiring. But I needed that too. And that's another thing, guys. Like you want to go to the spa rehab, that's where you want to go. But I'll tell you, I learned the most from that state funded, barely paid for, everyone's working there on a really low salary facility because they wanted to be there because they love their job.
Yes.
I don't know.
Not because they have yoga up on the freaking tutu trees or whatever.
I know. Or like the bungalows and the buffets. Oh my God, it's crazy. Ah, God, what insurance doesn't pay for, right?
Oh, it's stupid. Well, everybody, I just want to let you know, in the description of all the videos here, you can find all her YouTube, her Facebook, contact information, email. So that's all there. Join her community as she's joining ours, and we'll keep recovering better together. And then we definitely want to have you back. You can be like once a month or once every couple months, come on here and just pour your heart out and let us know what you're doing and all that good stuff.
All right.
You should just go back on Tuesday and do part 2.
Yeah, if you're available.
Yeah. Oh no, that's fine. I think we're off. Well, okay. So either A, we are getting a hotel for a couple of days because of Valentine's Day. We didn't get to do much today.
Ooh.
So if we do, I probably can still do it because I'll just be on my phone anyways. If not, I'll let you guys know. If I can't, I can definitely do either Thursday or next Sunday. So I have some options here, and I can probably come on every week to every other week on Tuesday if you want to set that up, or maybe Thursday because Tuesday I have class at like 6 a.m. and then I do my homework at 11. And yeah, I never go to sleep then. So
yeah, we'll definitely make something happen. We'll stay connected, and I invited you as admin on all my Facebook stuff too, so you should be getting those invites.
Yeah, you got mine, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, we're live on your channel right now too, so.
All right, cool beans. Yeah, you can just post whatever you want on there, honestly, as long as it's like getting some action and I'm like busy. If I'm overwhelmed, I'm like, post whatever you want. Just please keep them watching the page. But
that's how I feel.
I know, isn't it crazy? It's hard, guys. All you out there, they're like, I want to be a recovery advocate. No, you don't, man. It's hard.
It's hard.
No, you do want to be one, but at the same time, like it's like another job for free that you don't get paid for on top of your real job that you don't care as much about. It's horrible.
Very
isn't
well.
it? Yep, I know. It's crazy, man.
We got everybody subscribing and joining your Facebook page right now, so that's cool.
Yeah. Go to Breaking Chains, the Whitney Project.
Oh, and I want to make sure everybody knows this for Brad. Directly after this meeting, I'm dropping a Zoom link in the text chat. It's going to open up. Teeter's going to come on there and tell his story. So join us for a late night Zoom after this live stream.
Oh, you guys go late. All right, guys. Well, it was nice coming on. My phone's on 2%, so I got to get off.
Okay, but, we'll see you soon.
Yep. Happy Valentine's Day. I'll try to come on Tuesday. I'll come on at 10 o'clock whenever you guys do this. So I just text me. If I don't respond, text me twice. Just go in for the 2.
Okay.
Because that's usually the best, okay?
And then I'll email you that I text you.
And then call I don't have to email about the text.
Yeah, you could call, email, text. You gotta do them all. Do that. I don't care. You just gotta like my daughter has my phone and she'll see a call and she'll just be like, swipe, swipe. I got bye. Bye.
Yep.
I know. How rude, man. Like, I'm letting you use my phone, and you're literally, like, ignoring my calls and texts, and then I don't see them for a week later. But it's the only way to get her to not annoy me while I'm doing my homework. So, I haven't gotten the parenting thing down yet. But
us either, and ours are almost gone.
Really? Wow, you guys look so young.
Our oldest is 16 and our youngest is 9.
Wow. 16. Well, I'll be 36 when mine is like 18, so I can't say anything.
I just turned 41, so.
Oh, yeah, you weren't that young. No, you know what I mean. I'm saying you weren't extremely young when you had kids.
No, and I was 26 when I had my first, so.
Yeah, you guys look good. I was guessing like 25, so I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Nice. You hear that, everybody?
16.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will see you soon. I'm so glad you were here. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me on. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Wow, what a special treat that was, huh?
Amazing.
Amazing. All right. Well, we're going to say the Serenity Prayer, and we're going to let you guys jump into your Zoom meeting. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. All right. I'm going to drop that link right now as I'm going to do it while I'm live, and I'm going to screen share it while I do it so you guys can see what I do. So don't go away yet. Hold on. I'll show you how I do this. I'm going to screen share.
You saying we look old, Claiborne? Is that what that means?
Shut your face.
I look 16, Claiborne.
So here's what I do. I go in here to the scheduled Zooms. Bam. And then I grab this link right here. And I go Command C for copy. And then I come up here to the text chat. And then I drop it right here. Bam. And I hit enter, and then I go shift at EVE, and that pulls up everyone, and then I hit enter twice, and then I open the Zoom, and it says open.
Hope y'all are learning something.
Just showing y'all what's up. Yep, check it out. Bam, and I hit that, boom, there we are. And now we are live twice.
Why y'all not joining us in the Zoom?
Yeah, what's up? We're having a Zoom meeting. Where are you guys at?
Yeah.
Come on, Brad, I just opened it up for you. Where you at, dude?
What? Come on. Control V for paste. Thank you, Sheree.
Right. Thank you. Yes, sure. Control V. All right, y'all. Until next time, do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong. Work your program. And remember, we recover better
together.
We recover better together.